Welcome back, guys. Today we got Terra-Spray in finally. Trying a demo out on it. Yeah, we've tried it a little bit, and we're gonna give you some honest feedback on what we think of it. Give you a review, tell you what we like, what we don't like. So yeah, we'll get right into it. All right, so basically, to just give an overview of what this machine is basically compared to like a regular self-propelled zero-turn sprayer. So this is obviously self-propelled zero-turn. Can spin obviously 360 degrees almost in a circle. Basically just like a mower or anything like that. Whereas this over here is a four-wheel drive and four-wheel steer. So essentially, when you turn, these wheels turn and the back ones turn as well. I can probably start it up for you quick and show you. So you turn the wheel. And that's kind of how that works. What's very nice about that feature is there's absolutely like no turf tear at all, because with the regular sprayer or any zero turn, as you know, you can just, when you turn, you create those divots if you're doing a complete 360 turn, or you tear up a lot of grass. Not to mention when the grass is really soft too. These front wheels, when you got granular and stuff, when they spin around, they tend to tear up the grass too, especially newer grass. So with this, big benefit, absolutely no turf tear at all. And we found too that when you're going down a pass and you go to turn to your next pass, the way this is designed for turning radius, I mean, this thing turns, it puts you right perfectly in line with where your next pass has to be. So that's a big benefit there. All right, coming over to the operator's platform. From the looks of this, I mean, there's a lot going on compared to, I mean, as you can see, there's just a lot of controls, big operator platform, whereas you come over to like a regular self-propelled or a regular zero-turn, and you just got, I mean, this one won't even be on here on a regular. That's just our boom, power booms. But other than that, you got your sprayer. This is our auxiliary pump switch, your spinner dial, throttle, and then your spreading stuff. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on here. Whereas over here, you come over here, you got a lot of things going on. So you coming over, you got a starter or your key, you got your throttle, you got your spinner speed, you got your tanks. So I think we found that in the up position, this has got a 22 or 27 gallon a minute pump on it, which is a belt driven pump off the motor. So you could put down a lot of product per thousand. But what we found is kind of in the up position, you're running more of like the lower, you're putting lower gallons. The pump is on a lower setting or whatever. Whereas on the bottom, we found that your pressure literally won't drop below 60 with them being in down position. I'm guessing that pump probably works a lot harder, sucks a lot, can put out a lot more product. So like with what we're doing, only putting half a gallon per thousand down. Right there is what the setting. And then obviously in the middle would be your tank shut off. And what those run off basically is right here, there's little electric meters. So basically everything on this machine is either electric or hydraulic. There's no cables. There's benefits and drawbacks to both of that, I think. Cables, obviously, like on mine, I took my diffuser off because the cable is just messed up. You can see down here my diffuser cable is already busted. Cables break, they get stuck. So eliminating cables is nice. Electronics, they work great. The only question I have on that is, how long are these electronics good for? Because we all know that electronics go bad. It's a nightmare to try and, diagnose all the problems and fix that. So, it's a lot easier to go just get a cable and fix that within a couple hours rather than trying to figure out what happened, where is the problem going wrong with electronics. Time will only tell how long these electronics last, but yeah. So moving on with the next kind of thing, you got the same thing as the regular stand-up sprayers, zero-turn sprayers. You got your boom shutoffs, pressure dial, your pressure gauge, your speedometer. This is all your kind of your granular settings. This will move your spreader from left to right. You got your spreader settings. Basically everything for doing fertilizer or anything hop related, that's all here. You do have your spray pump switch here, as well as a foot switch down there. And then obviously you got a steering wheel. You also got a throttle or your forward and reverse here, as well as your foot switch for reverse and forward. And you can see when I push the foot switch down, that goes. You can adjust this for speed. And then another nice thing it's got is a hopper vibrators, so break up any of them clumps, which is what we've been dealing with a lot with the product we spread, is get these tiny little clumps. Well, I think with that hopper vibrator, I think that would do wonders. This model is a 50 gallon, so 2 25-gallon tanks. I do believe they sell a 30-gallon as well as a 70. I believe for this 50-gallon model, it's 47 inches wide by, I think 72 inches long. So smaller than this machine, which I like because you could fit into gates. But yeah, you got bigger tires in the front, bigger in the rear, smaller in the front. Same boom width as this one. I think they're 8-foot booms. I like, you got a metal spinner. All ran off of hydraulics. The hydraulics are actually down here now, whereas so in here you could see it's completely wide open, which I like. Whereas on these, you got the hydraulics ran through the top, less space. Yeah, so you could fit a little bit more product in there. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the main features. Metal spinner. We've noticed that these fins wear off pretty easily and they break. So you probably got to go through a spinner a year on those, where that metal spinner will probably last you a lifetime. It should. Other than that, this tank is kind of your hydraulic fluid tank. You got your hose reel. I'm not exactly sure why the hose reel is mounted like this and not vertical or completely sideways, how it is on the Toro. But yeah, so I guess we can probably get into the things that I like first compared to the traditional sprayer. I think the first thing that I'd say I like is just, everything feels comfortable with, they've thought out of it very well. Of you can do two different operations. You could run it with your foot. You could also run it by hand. So you got options, which is very nice. Every operator is probably going to feel comfortable doing it a different way. So having a couple different things is very neat. Other than that, I think I like the spread thing. Very, very well thought out too. I like you can be on the fly. So you got a sidewalk. You just hit all the way over, and it'll basically turn your spreader all the way that way, and it'll only spread to the left or whatever. If you don't want to spread something, whereas that, I don't even bother with that on this sprayer because it just, like I said, it's cables. It just, well, mine's broke anyways, so you can't really use it. But yeah, that's a big benefit. What's nice too is you still got you can open and close it here. Otherwise, we found out there's a button here too. So you could be driving along, hit this button, go, and then hit it again and shut it off. So everything is really well placed, so that way you're not reaching all over the place for things. So you could be, driving along, you come to your end of your pass, you hit the button, you turn your wheel, and then you just hit your button and you're spreading again, as well as the foot sprayer or this. So many options, very nicely thought out on that. The turning on this thing is amazing. Like I said, no turf tear, turns on a dime. Yeah, just very, very, very well thought out. Another thing I like, obviously the metal spinner is a big upgrade. I think how this is kind of designed too is it's all kind of pitched. So that way all your product, it's not, obviously you get some in here. It's impossible to eliminate all the granular from getting stuck into tight places, but this being here, you get more product on the ground rather on your machine as compared to this. You look over here, you get it all over these arms, in here, all up in these hoses. If you look in there, you get a bunch down in there, in your tires. Just, it gets all over the place. You as you can see, it gets up in the holes. Just, it gets all over the place. That's just wasted product, and you wash it off, and that product sitting there just, it creates rust. It's not as well thought out. I like that little slope plate there, very nice. Tank size, I think we haven't tested the 70 gallon. I think this 50 gallon is very nice. The weight distribution on this is incredible. You put this on any slope or hill. We were able to side hill this, no problem. Up and down hills, holds hills amazing. Whereas this, going up our ramps or any hills, if you're not completely loaded with granular in the front and you got full tanks in the back, this thing she'll wheelie and just very unsafe. So this thing is very, very safe. Just incredible. So with that being said, on the things that we really like about it, we'll get into this a couple things that we don't like. Some of them are kind of minor. I don't even know if they might just be problems with what we've been doing, or just things that might not obviously always happen. But I think the first thing when we got it was this key. So there's actually a couple wires that run into this ignition, and it seems like they just come loose or vibrate undone. I don't know if that is a problem, but essentially then you lose all power to everything. Your ignition, nothing works. So basically those wires come undone, and then down here there was a couple fuses that we had to replace. So yeah, I don't know, like I said, if that's just something random or if that's happening on a lot of these machines, that just the vibration and loose connections are causing things to come undone. But another thing, I don't consider it a problem yet. I don't know how it will be, is this hopper vibrator. I think it's going to work great. It's going to break up your product. Now, the only problem with that is this vibrator going to cause issues with, more loose connections? Is that a reason why this is coming undone? It shakes the machine, and as you can see here, I think this is where the vibrator is. It's shaking right on the frame, so I would imagine that when you get your whole machine vibrating, you might eventually cause some loose connections. I don't know. That's kind of something that only time will tell too. I think it's a great idea. I just have to wait and see. Eventually you get more hours on the machine on how it's going to perform. I guess the only other problem that we've had with this machine is I was spraying and this push button almost like got stuck, or I don't know what happened. It came undone or something, and the sprayer wouldn't shut off. It just kept spraying, so I had to flip all the booms up, and yeah, so I don't know if that's another faulty problem they got on them, or if that's just kind of, like I said, another thing that's kind of just happened to us, but it's not really a problem. I don't know. Time will tell with that too. So as far as layout, I do like how everything is laid out. I wish, because I probably, with the pump being here, the switch pump being here, and you're driving with your left hand and you're running your right hand with the hopper, or say you want to control this, well, you need to have one hand on the steering wheel and one hand on that. So that kind of makes this pump switch over here kind of in a bad spot, I would say. Whereas I'd like it, somewhere over here. Whereas you're driving along, you can use your foot and one hand, and then the other hand when you're getting to your pass, you can click the switch on here rather than taking your hand off the wheel or trying to reach, over with this hand. So I'd like this pump switch to be kind of placed over here a little more, or even like right here. If you put the hopper vibrator over here and the pump switch over here like this, I think that would make a lot more sense. The digital gauge that they use, I think it's just a little bit too small and not bright enough when you're out in the sun. Because when you're spraying, you need to see your speed because you want to be stuck around that speed. And it's kind of also like, you can kind of see from where my eyes would be, you're running here, and you can see how my hand and the steering wheel kind of block that speedometer too. So I would almost like this kind of placed, over in the center somewhere, or maybe over here, and put these switches over here, just to kind of clear up that blind spot, and yeah, make that gauge a little, maybe a little brighter, or use something different, make it a little bigger. If you come over and kind of look at how ours are on these, you can see they're pretty bright. It's right there. It's never anything blocking that from you. You got good visibility. We never really worry about any of these settings. It's mainly just the speed we're worrying about. So if they could go with a switch kind of like this, or a display kind of like this, that's a little bigger and brighter, I think that would be a great upgrade. Another, I guess, little problem we've had, I guess it's not even a problem, it's just a preference. I feel like this platform's just kind of too small for our liking. Because like, as you can see, you got your foot switch here. Well, I like to be a little wider to feel a little more comfortable. So when you're running wide, you can't have your foot up by the switch, otherwise your booms will be spraying all the time. And if you put it behind it, well, then you can kind of see your feet are already overhanging. And I wear a size 11, so any guys with bigger feet, you're already going to be kind of hanging over the edge. And then you can put it over here, but even then you got your foot pedals here, so there's not too much room there. So even if you're back here, like I said, you're kind of hanging out over. And I don't like a narrow stance. So I would like to see this pad kind of brought out a little more, give you more foot room. Because like over here in these pads, you kind of got, as you can see, you got a little backstop, and your feet are all the way on the edge. Plus you got that little bit of angled lip, so that way your heels are up and your spray button's kind of tucked back. So I like this platform a little bit more, just for the fact that it's a little wider. Your feet are actually kind of covered the whole way, as opposed to hanging off over the edge. So I would definitely like them to lengthen the amount of pad that sticks out, as well as this pad. This pad really doesn't do much for you. As you can see, this kind of steering wheel here hangs out over the pad a little bit. So when you're, leaning on it, you can see that my stomach actually hits the steering wheel before it even touches the pad. So I would have liked to see too, if they would have brought, laid the steering wheel here and brought this platform out a little bit so that the pad kind of sits right here. So that way when you're driving, you're still resting, and then you got your steering wheel. That's just more of a comfort. These two things are more of a comfort preference than anything. But, you're out on the job, you're running this machine all day, you want to be comfortable. So I'd like to see those two improvements on it. Now, this next thing isn't so much a downfall or a problem. It's just another preference. So with this demo that we're running, it's got the 27 gallon a minute pump that's run off a belt off the motor. I believe it's right down here. So this is the only belt that's on the machine, because everything is direct. The tranny is directly attached to the motor and the hydraulics. So there's no other belts compared to on our sprayer. You got all these belts down there and stuff that run from the motor to the transmission and stuff. The biggest problem I have with the 27 gallon a minute pump is every time you're spot spraying or anything, every time you flip that switch on, you can feel the motor, you can feel it under power. It kind of bogs, and it just, I don't like it, because you can feel it vibrate the machine. You can feel it just kick on and off with that 27 gallon a minute pump run off the motor. For us, we would never need to run that much product. These 5.5 gallon a minute pumps that we have on our sprayers are more than capable of what we're doing. We're only putting down a half a gallon. You could even run a gallon out of these, I'm sure. Maybe, yeah, I would say you could probably run a gallon. For sure 3/4 of a gallon or whatever, just off this little electric motor pump. But yeah, for us, that 27 gallon a minute pump would just, we would not want something that powerful. So for those guys out there though that do want the 27, they want to put down a lot of product and they don't mind, feeling that little bit of engine bog or vibration, then I'd more than, feel more than welcome to get that option. It's a cool option to have. I think it's the only sprayer on the market that probably has a pump that size if you're trying to put out, 2 gallons per 1,000. But yeah, other than that, I think all the other things about this machine are amazing. You got your spreader that, this is off a little motor and actuator here. So as you can see, this pivots to move your hopper left and right rather than cables and blockers and all that. So I think that's really cool. Yeah, hose reel. I don't know why they put it this way. I guess it doesn't make much of a difference. I think this is probably only a 40 or 50 foot hose, as ours are like 70. So I'd like to see a little more hose on here. But overall, I think it's a sweet machine. It's probably not going to be for everyone, but I think you're either going to fall in love with it or you're just... The biggest problem I've had is just kind of getting comfortable with it, because I've been so used to running a zero-turn sprayer that you get on something a little different with a foot pedal and a steering wheel and trying to, you know, mess with different settings. It'll take some getting used to, you know. So yeah, that's kind of my honest review on the Terra-Spray. I'll set up the camera here and kind of drive it around quick, show you guys the turning on it and just that type of stuff. It's a pretty neat machine. 4-wheel drive. It's been so dry here now. We haven't gotten rain lately, so there's no real muddy or soft spots. I wish I could, you know, show you guys, or even myself, how good this 4-wheel drive is going to work. It's obviously going to work 10 times better than a 2-wheel drive. But yeah, we'll get some footage of kind of driving around the shop here, and we'll see you then. So I said, like I said, when you're driving, you can use the foot pedal to go forward. Then you got your steering wheel. Kind of just drive around. Get to somewhere you got to stop and reverse. You switch your foot. Then you just go back to driving on your forward. Or if you don't like the foot pedal as much, you can use the hand controls too. Foot's off the pedal. Go back and forth with that. Say you're going to start your next pass here. You get straight, you click the hopper button, opens the hopper, product starts coming out. So then you'd probably, you know, be running with one hand here. See how now, I mean, I guess you could run with that and click your left, but yeah, like I said, I just don't like that pump switch there. Other than that, there's different colors for the display as well, but right there you can see, I don't know why that display is not working now. One last thing to just show you guys is, so here's kind of what the hopper is. Here's all your different settings for how wide your gate opens on your hopper. Looks like 20 is the max, and then obviously it goes down to 0. So that's nice to just be digital right here. I think we were running on 6. And then if you click this too, you can see how it kind of shows exactly where your spreader is. So I'll see if I can't click this and so you can see how it kind of shifts left and right. I think that's a sweet feature. That's another really nice thing I like about it. And then it's all, you can You can do setting adjustments too. So say I want my hopper, all the way left. You can do that. Then you just hold down the center, and then it saves that setting. So when you're over here and you click center, it'll bring it right back to where you saved it. So say I want it here, save that setting, and then I bring it back over here and click that, and it brings it right back to where that setting is saved. So kind of see here where I literally did a 360. There's no grass tear up at all. I mean, just amazing. Absolutely amazing that this thing could not tear up any grass. Sweet. Yeah, guys, that's the honest review on the Terra-Spray. If you guys want to check them out, you can go on their website. It's just called Terra-Spray. They're fairly new. The owner that actually designed this, LT Rich, is the same guy that built the Z sprays and designed them. So very reputable company. They know their stuff. I think this has only been in the works it's been in the works for a lot longer, but I think they just started releasing these in the last 6 months to a year. So obviously there's some kinks to work out, but overall we think it's a great machine. So yeah, if you want to get in touch with them, just contact them on their website. I think they got a number or something. But other than that, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. And we got a Toro demo coming, for a new Toro demo model coming. So stay tuned for that. We'll catch you on the next one.